Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and on this video tonight there is quite a few topics to delve into. So let's get on with it. So I am going to be giving you some news on Fred. Then I am going to be giving you a bit more additional information on Paul Pogba. I have been talking with you about Paul Pogba on a regular basis, haven't I? Then I'm going to be giving you some more news on Raul Jimnez. I've been talking with you about Raul Jimnez, I think, in the last day or two. Then going to be giving you some news on Carlos Vinicious from Benfica. Then there'll be lots of other things to talk about a bit later on in the video on that. And by the way, this is my third video today. So let's now start with the news on Fred. So Fred has come out and revealed his wish ahead of the summer transfer window, and he has advised Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to get more Brazilian players at Manchester United, because obviously, Fred is a seventh Brazilian player to represent the football club. So we haven't really, had a long history of Brazilian players. I think, we had Anderson before, who were Brazilian. We had Klebertson, who were Brazilian. We had Fabio and Rafael de Silva, who, of course, were Brazilian. As it stands at the moment, we've only got two players in our squad that are Brazilian, and that's Fred and, of course, Andres Pereira and that. So he's advised Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to recommend some Brazilian players in the summer and that. But obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer anyway is looking to sign around 3 or 4 players in the summer. Now, Fred, I think, has done very, very well for Manchester United this season, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. We did pay, was it £50 million for him from Shakhtar Donetsk back in the summer of 2018. And people will say, we did overpay for Fred. I thought Fred was absolutely exceptional during his time in Ukraine. Obviously, we recommended Fred in under the Jose Mourinho era. And obviously, Fred never really got his opportunities under Jose Mourinho, let's be honest. But this season, he's been given his opportunities under Solskjaer, and he has done very, very well as Fred. And I think, he can get to that level, where he does want to be. I really do have a lot of confidence in him. So, yeah. So, Fred has said that Manchester United should get some more Brazilian players in and that. Whether Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does this or not, I do not know. But there again, Solskjaer still wants to continue the policy of recruiting young British talents to Manchester United like he did do last summer and that. So that, Solskjaer revealed his transfer strategy, a while ago and that. So this is, what Fred has come out and said. Now, we'll give you the news on Paul Pogba. I've been reading recent reports, and Juventus have actually been advised to sell 2 of their players to fund the move for Paul Pogba. So they've been advised, I think, to sell Adrien Rabiot and Aaron Ramsey. Now, of course, I give you the news regarding Adrien Rabiot, was it earlier on this week? There was reports stemming from the Italian press allegedly saying that Adrien Rabiot told Juventus he was on strike and he was refusing to return to training. But that was not the case, according to the Adrien Rabiot, because he actually, laughed these rumours off. Adrien Rabiot, does want to leave Juventus. I think he's actually, interested in making a move to Everton, because Everton have been in for Rabiot, and I think actually, Rabiot's held some negotiations with Carlo Ancelotti over a possible move. Adrien Rabiot, this has only been his first season with Juventus. Obviously, Juventus did get him last summer on a free transfer from PSG, and he did sign a contract with Juventus until 2023, did Adrien Rabiot. But like I said, Juventus have got quite a few players in on free transfers in recent years, Aaron Ramsey and Emre Can from Liverpool and that. So there you go. Adrien Rabiot, spent the vast majority of his career with PSG. Well, he did spend the vast majority of his career with PSG. He won a total of 18 major honours with PSG. He broke into their senior squad back in 2012, and he was at PSG for several years. Disregarding Adrien Rabiot as being part of any swap deal, with Pogba, he probably would cost in the £20 million range. So he's a cheap solution, and Adrien Rabiot is in his mid-20s and that. So there you go. And he's predominantly, I think, a box-to-box midfielder. So would you take Adrian Rabiot at Manchester United? I think in his youth career, he actually had a spell at Manchester City and that. But there's been a few clubs that have been in for him. Don't forget, he mentioned early on this week that Arsenal have expressed their interest in Adrian Rabiot. Obviously, Aaron Ramsey. There's been a lot of talks, at least in the last couple of weeks, saying that Ramsey could come to Manchester United as part of a swap deal of probably going to Juventus. I think, a lot of Manchester United fans would take Aaron Ramsey at the football club, reflects on the good pedigree that he's got in the Premier League, because Aaron Ramsey did endure 11 years with Arsenal. And I think he made, was it over 200 appearances in the Premier League and over 300 appearances in all competitions. Also scored in a couple of Arsenal's FA Cup finals as well. And there you go. Don't forget, we tried getting Aaron Ramsey in 2008. This is when he left Cardiff, and this is obviously before he went to Arsenal. We came close to getting him, but obviously, we didn't get him because Arsenal got him for around £5 million. Obviously, Aaron Ramsey joined Juventus last summer on a free transfer. Arsenal let him go on a free. And I think he signed, was it a 4-year contract? So he's under contract with Juventus till 2023. And I think he's Juventus' second highest paid player, just behind Cristiano Ronaldo. Aaron Ramsey is predominantly a box-to-box midfielder, but you can play him on the left wing and you can play him on the right wing. So, his versatility is very, very good. And I do believe that he is in his late 20s and that. So reportedly, Juventus have been advised to sell them two players to get, Paul Pogba on the board. Because obviously, don't forget, like he updated you earlier on this week, it did mention that Juventus are no longer in for Paul Pogba because they became the first Italian club to have their own cap salary. And it did say, Juventus won't be able to afford Paul Pogba and they won't be able to afford to pay off his wages, because we said if we're to sell Paul Pogba this summer, we want at least £100 million, and Juventus are not willing to meet that £100 million valuation. Like I said to you, if Paul Pogba does leave the football club, I think he will make a return back to Turin anyway. There's obviously other players' names that have been put into the equation as well as Ramsey and Rabiot. Obviously, there was talks of Matty Stillett, wasn't there, a month or so ago. There's also been talks of Douglas Costa. He's a Brazilian player. There's also been talks of Milan Panjanic as well. But, swap deals have been on the agenda. But there again, swap deals are very, very rare in the modern game. They really, really are in that. But like I said to you yesterday, I think Paul Pogba is staying at Manchester United. I really, really do think he's staying at the football club. Because the Busby Babe reported yesterday that Paul Pogba wants to stay at Manchester United. And I know reports in recent weeks haven't really mentioned, Paul Pogba wanting to stay at the football club. But it did mention that Solskjaer wants to keep Paul Pogba at Manchester United, because Solskjaer is excited about the prospects of Paul Pogba playing alongside Bruno Fernandes in our midfield. Because let's be honest, they haven't yet played together, Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes, and I think they will complement each other fantastically well in our midfield. Them playing in our starting 11, like I said, you'd have Pogba in the number 6 or the number 8. And you'd have obviously, Bruno Fernandes in the number 10, which is his predominant position in that. So there you go. By the way, good news is, Paul Pogba has been stepping up his fitness regime. He did confirm recently that Paul Pogba's been training at the Cheshire Cricket Club with Lindelof, Maguire and Anthony Martial. So that's obviously, very, very good news. And like I said, Pogba's only played 8 times this season for the football club. His appearances have been limited due to his injuries. The last time Paul Pogba played was a 4-1 win against Newcastle on Boxing Day. And the last time he started from the start was back in September. But analysing it, Paul Pogba's enjoyed quite a few injuries as a Manchester United player. Obviously, since he rejoined the football club, he's had a long running transfer saga. He's received quite a lot of criticism. Like I said, Graham Souness and Roy Keane have been his biggest critics. Obviously, don't forget Paul Pogba endured a difficult time under the Jose Mourinho era. And analysing the vast majority of his performances since he rejoined, they've been totally comparison to his ones at Juventus and that. Don't forget, we did pay £89 million for Paul Pogba, so at the moment he is our most expensive signing. Don't forget, there was reports coming out the other week saying if we was to sell him in the summer, we could only get 60 or £70 million. It mentioned as well that Ed Woodward had initially lowered his asking price from 150 to £100 million. So when, Paul Pogba does come back, we'll have to see how he performs. If he can perform well, and then if he can perform well next season as well, then maybe we will consider giving him a new long-term contract. Obviously, at the moment, Pogba's got exactly a year left on his contract, but the club do have an option to extend it by a further year and that. But there's been quite a few clubs that have been in for him, Paul Pogba. Real Madrid were in for him, but it confirmed, I think, last week. It was stemming from Marca, and they said that Real Madrid are no longer in for him because of his wages. Plus, Real Madrid have got other midfield targets on their agenda. But, last summer, Paul Pogba revealed that his preference was a move to Real Madrid because Pogba came out last summer and said he's seeking for a new challenge, and even publicly admitted as well that he wanted to leave the football club. The figure that we said we want now is totally contrast, to the one we wanted last summer, because last summer we said we wanted £180 million. So we was demanding just over double than what we paid for him from Juventus. It's been coming out in recent weeks as well, saying that PSG have been in for Pogba. For PSG to get Pogba, disregarding his swap deal, they'd probably have to sell Mbappe or Neymar, to fund the move for Pogba. Of course, Mbappe and Neymar are the two most expensive players in the world. It's said in recent weeks as well that Inter Milan have been in for Paul Pogba. Don't forget, Inter Milan have already recruited 3 of our players. So there you go and that. I think Paul Pogba has won 2 trophies with the football club. He won the Europa League and the League Cup in his first season. I think he made around 140 odd appearances in all competitions since he rejoined from Juventus back in 2016. I think he scored just over 30 goals. But you can say we made a mistake by getting rid of Pogba when he was younger, because don't forget we had him under the Ferguson era. But obviously, we had to let him go in the end, because of his appearances were limited. He only made a couple of first team appearances, but we did let him go on a 3 transfer. Paul Pogba's one of the highest paid players at the football club. He's on £300,000 a week. So maybe there's still a slight possibility chance he could leave, but more, I think it's looking almost certain that, Paul Pogba will be here next season. That maybe it's because of the, financial issues, with the coronavirus pandemic. That's probably, what is keeping Paul Pogba at Manchester United next season and that. But like I said, there has been a few players on our agenda who could replace him at the football club if he does leave and that. But yeah, if it, I don't know if he's going to be here for the foreseeable future. I really, really don't. But when he does eventually leave, I think he will go back to Juventus. I don't see him, going to Real Madrid, even though he was talking a lot about Real Madrid last year. And that's so there you go. So that is the news on that. By the way, it's still saying, Zinedine Zidane's keen on him. Yeah. So now, let's delve into the news on Raul Jimnez. I've been talking with you a lot about Raul Jimnez, haven't I, on a regular basis, like I mentioned. According to recent reports, we are not interested in Raul Jimnez. Like I did say, I knew there wasn't a lot of trustworthy in this story, linking Raul Jimnez with a move to Manchester United and that. Obviously, it came out from the Portuguese newspaper Record yesterday saying, that reportedly, we've expressed an interest in him, and the stories regarding Raul Jimnez were coming from the Portuguese newspaper Record, and reports were coming out earlier on today saying that, Wolves have decided that they're going to let Raul Jimnez leave them at the end of the season. I did say, didn't I, he probably would cost in the 40 odd or 50 odd million pound range because Raul Jimnez is 29. But he actually, said that Wolves want around 88 or 89 million pounds, and that is a lot of money, for Raul Jimnez. He's a very, very good player, but look at his age, like I've just said, he is 29 years of age, is Raul Jimnez. It also mentioned these reports were stemming from Spain, and they actually, said that he would love to make a move to Liverpool with Raul Jimnez. So he's no interest anywhere in coming to Manchester United. I don't think, Liverpool will get him, though, because Liverpool obviously want to get Timo Werner on the board. Obviously, George Mendes has, been working with Wolves in recent years. He's been working with Wolves in recent years as Jimnez and that. And he's obviously, trying to find Wolves a replacement for Raul Jimenez. And of course, that is Carlos Vinicious, like I mentioned. But definitely, I would definitely take Raul Jimenez at Manchester United. Well Premier League proven, prolific goal scorer. And I just think he'd do well for the football club. His hold-up play is good. If we was to sign him, how many years would we get out of Raul Jimenez? And that is the question. But we're not going to sign him anyway, so I'm actually, going to fully disregard it because we're not interested in getting him. Solskjaer's no interest in recommending him in. But, the rumours that have come out in the past couple of days have, that's happened before. This is not the first time we've been in for Raul Jimenez. We have been in for him in the past as well, don't forget. Because we're in search for a striker, because we're looking for an adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku. Because we let Lukaku leave the football club last summer. Obviously, Lukaku went to Inter Milan for £72 million after, he endured 2 years at Manchester United. Now, Raul Jimenez did suggest out, though, earlier on this month that he's happy at, Wolves. And he's aware of the speculation regarding him, and he knows that, quite a few clubs have been linked to him, and he did say he would consider leaving Wolves if Real Madrid or Barcelona went in for him, or of course if Liverpool went in for him, he would consider leaving. I think Raul Jimenez has got a contract with Wolves until 2023. Wolves did get him permanently last summer. Wolves paid around, was it 32.6 million to get him permanently, so I think he's Wolves' most expensive signing. Because obviously, last season, didn't Wolves have him on loan? They had him on long-season loan. Then obviously, they decided to get him permanently, reflecting on his good run of performances. Before he was at Wolves, like I mentioned, he was at Benfica. I heard that he wasn't so good at Benfica. Before that, he was at Atletico Madrid. Had quite a few years with them, and before that, he was in America. He was in America's youth system, was Raul Jimenez. And I think he does go very, very well in Wolves' team alongside Diego Jota and Adam Traore. They do make a good attacking trio and that. They really, really do. And like I said, Wolves did very, very well last season. They finished 7th last season. That got them qualification for the Europa League. They also progressed to the FA Cup semi-finals last season for the first time in 21 years. But yeah, so it's very, very unlikely that Manchester United are going to sign Raul Jimenez. Very, very unlikely indeed. The news on now on Carlos Vinicious from Benfica. I've just been reading recent reports, and it does say that Benfica are only willing to sell Carlos Vinicious on one condition, and that's if his €100 million release clause is triggered. But I can't see us or even Wolves, triggering his €100 million release clause. €100 million does equate to around, is it 88 million in pound sterling. Don't forget, it says that Wolves, were planning, to put around a £53 million bidding for Carlos Vinicious. It also come out earlier on this week saying, we was willing to put our offer in of around £35 million for the player. So they won't sell him for anything less than £88 million. This has been Carlos Vinicius' first season with Benfica. Because obviously, Benfica did get him, was it last summer? Benfica did pay around £15 million for him from Napoli. And I think he signed, was it a 5-year contract, was it? He's got a contract now with Benfica till 2024. He also had loan spells with Monaco, Rio Ave and Real SC as well. And he is only at the age of 25 is the player. So he's recently, been another striker on our agenda. But yeah, same thing with Raul Jimenez, very, very unlikely he's going to come to Manchester United. So there you go. So that is the latest news on all of that. By the way, just want to confirm that, Borussia Dortmund beat Schalke today by 4-0. Because obviously, the Bundesliga did return today. Obviously, the Premier League is supposed to be resuming next month. I think it's going to be starting on the 20th of June, reportedly. And like I said, Tottenham and Man United is supposed to be the first game back in the Premier League, and it's going to be live on Friday Night Football. So it's really, really good, that football is coming back and that. So there you go. Like I've said to you, You know the news on Moussa Dembele. I give you the news on Moussa Dembele earlier on this week, didn't I? Give you the news on him because there has been a lot of reports coming out this week saying we've reached a transfer agreement with Lyon for Moussa Dembele, and we'll pay around 61 or 62 million pounds for his services. I'd definitely take Moussa Dembele at Manchester United because he is an out-and-out number 9. He's Moussa Dembele. Plus, since his arrival in France, he's been a revelation. To be quite honest with you, I think, the 3 clubs he's been at, he's done really, really well at. Because Lyon is the 3rd club in his playing career. But I thought he was also very good at Celtic. He was also very, very good at Fulham. He began his senior career at Fulham, did Moussa Dembele. And he's just basically revealed that, he does want to make a move to Manchester United, Moussa Dembele. Also, too, Chelsea have been in for him as well, but I'd definitely take him at the football club. And again, we've been in for Moussa Dembele before. So there's been a lot of strikers on our agenda. Harry Kane, he's fully out of the equation. He's Harry Kane. We're not going to sign Harry Kane. I'm not too sure about the foreseeable future, but I can definitely fully assure that we're not going to sign Harry Kane this summer and that. So, yeah. So which striker should Manchester United sign and that? Obviously, you saw my video that I did earlier on today as well. I give you the news on Jadon Sancho from Borussia Dortmund. Obviously, don't forget it's confirmed that we're only willing to pay 60 or 70 million for Sancho. Neither of them figures are going to be enough to convince Dortmund to offload him because Dortmund have said, they want at least 100 million. So they do remain ruthless over their valuation. And Borussia Dortmund have confirmed that transfer fees will fall. Don't forget, David Einstein from The Athletic. He was talking about Jadon Sancho recently. He was also talking about Timo Werner as well, like I updated you earlier on today. But he did say to David Einstein that Jadon Sancho will not be sold for less than £100 million. There was reports coming out last week saying that we're planning to sign Jadon Sancho next summer instead of this summer. And also it says that Borussia Dortmund do expect him to stay in the summer and that. But there's been a lot of clubs that have been in for Jadon Sancho. David Einstein also said as well that, Sancho will make a decision on his future at the end of the Bundesliga season because he has got an agreement in place with Borussia Dortmund ahead of the summer transfer window now. But Jadon Sancho is one of our priority targets. The news on Jude Bellingham. I give you the news on Jude Bellingham earlier on today. We obviously want to make a double transfer. We want to sign Jude Bellingham, and we also want to sign his younger brother, Joe Bellingham. He's only the age of 15, of course. But I think reports have said today from 90minute.com and that we are, confident, we can get Jude Bellingham on the board and that. So there you go. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, has said he wants to make 3 big transfers this summer. 3 big signings, yeah. And obviously, we want to recommend Sancho in. We want to recommend Grealish in and want to recommend Bellingham in because them 3 players are priority targets. Them 3 players are going to cost us around £220 million and that. Something like that anyway. And Solskjaer has spent around £220 million at the football club already on 5 players. And I think, the 5 players that Solskjaer's recommended in have been, very, very impressive. Of course, last summer he brought Daniel James, Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire in. And of course, in January, he brought Bruno Fernandes and Odi Nagalo in and that. So they have done, really, really well. By the way, I think we've got 2 young upcoming players incoming as well. And that's Marc Joado from Barcelona. If I've pronounced his name correctly, I think we've paid just over £1 million in compensation for him. He also said as well that we're going to get Joe Hugel from Sunderland. I think, we're going to get him for around £250,000. So, they're 2 young players, that Man United are going to be recommending in by the looks of things. But, yeah. But, Solskjaer, definitely will be here next season, like I mentioned, because I said, he deserves at least another season and he deserves at least a couple of more transfer windows. Definitely deserves a couple of more transfer windows because he's still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team. And, of course, Ed Woodward has said on numerous occasions this season he's willing to back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And he has assured that his job is safe, even though we've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season ever and that. And like I said to I've been very critical of Solskjaer this season, but a lot of Manchester United fans have been very, very critical of him this season. Because at one point, he was very, very close to getting sacked. And obviously, at that point, there was talks of Pochettino coming in. Don't forget, went in for Pochettino after Mourinho got sacked. Obviously, there was talks of Massimiliano Allegri coming in. But obviously, all of a sudden, we did turn things around. Because before the football season got suspended, we was in a good vein of form, and we are unbeaten in our last 11 games in all competitions and that. And yeah, and I think, I've seen changes under Solskjaer than what I saw under like Mourinho and that, and I've seen improvements as well. Like I said, the likes of Martial, Shaw, Fred and Rashford, they've all improved under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. And, but obviously under the Jose Mourinho era, Shaw, Martial, Fred and Rashford, endured difficult times because Jose Mourinho has got a bad reputation, with top players. So let's just put that into the equation. I think also, too, I've got to say, Solskjaer's changed the tactics, he's changed the personnel and that. Something else that's improved is our record against the big six sides, because we've done well against the big six sides this season. We've taken 17 points against the big six sides this season. Don't forget, Solskjaer's become the first manager he became the first manager, in history to beat Pep Guardiola 3 times in one season. Obviously, Solskjaer's beaten Frank Lampard 3 times as a manager. Obviously, we drew with Liverpool earlier on in the season. Obviously, he's beaten Jose Mourinho once as well as Solskjaer. He's looking to obviously, beat him twice and looking to beat Tottenham for the 3rd time because he's beaten Tottenham twice so far. Beat him last season, beat him this season. So, there you go. Like I said, these still things Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to work on. He needs to work out his best formation because he's been changing formation persistently this season. He also needs to make possibly a tactical change because we have been playing on the counter-attack a lot throughout the course of this season. Maybe some more of the young players should get more opportunities. But, I think he's promoted the youth well. Like I've mentioned on my other videos, some of the young players have been given their opportunities and that. Some have played a lot and some, have played a couple of games, but they haven't really played a lot. Greenwood's been playing this season well. Brandon Williams has done well. Obviously, Angel Gomez, I think he's one of the players that's going to be leaving because we can't get him a new contract. And Angel Gomez has got concerns over getting into the first team and that. He doubts it, basically. Tahith Chong, I've heard a lot of Man United fans saying, that we should loan Tahith Chong out because his appearances have also been limited. But I think we've had the youngest squad in the Premier League this season, if I am correct in that. I think Solskjaer's approach to the games against lower opposition needs to improve because we've dropped far too many points against low teams this season. And, in reality, there's games that we should have won this season, that we didn't obviously, win. So there you go. But like I said to Solskjaer, it will be Solskjaer's 4th transfer window in the summer. It will be 2nd summer transfer window in total. Don't forget, Solskjaer's already revealed his plans. He's already revealed his plans. He was saying last week that, we'll enter a much changed transfer market. Obviously, this is what Solskjaer had said. And obviously, you had Ed Woodward coming out quite a few weeks ago, saying that, we won't do business as usual in the summer transfer market. He basically ruled out big transfers to Man United and, he says we will not be spending hundreds of millions of pounds and stuff like that. So, yeah. But Solskjaer still believes, we can get the right calibre players into the football club, and he's already identified the areas in the squad as well as Solskjaer where he does want to strengthen up. Wants to recommend a centre-forward and a right winger and a midfielder. Still some reports emerging out saying that he wants to recommend a centre-half and stuff like that. And stuff like that. Obviously, as well, we don't want to get a director of football in like I updated you a couple of weeks ago because we'd abandoned our search for a director of football after we'd been in search for a director of football for a couple of years. We've no interest now in getting a director of football in because reflect on the impact Solskjaer's made, and Ned Woodward's got a lot of trustworthy in Solskjaer. There was quite a few names linked with that director's role. There really, really was. Like I said, we're going to get rid of players this summer. You know, a good 5 or 6 players are going to go this summer, so it'd be good to see more of the deadwood go. Solskjaer's obviously, you know, already anyway got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he got recommended into the football club. Like I said, there's around 9 players' contracts that are due to expire next year. Obviously, you know, this is something, you know, we do need to sort out. But to be fair, a lot of players' contracts have been extended since Solskjaer came in. So there you go. I want Solskjaer to be successful at Manchester United because he's a club legend at the end of the day. And I don't know if he's, you know, if he's the right manager, you know, to get us back, you know, being competitive and that. Because I've heard some Man United fans saying, you know, we need to recommend a manager in at the top levels, such as a Jurgen Klopp or a Pep Guardiola and that. But Solskjaer was a great player for the football club for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance. He really, really did. And he's inexperienced as a manager, but he needs more time. He really, really needs more time. Because the longer he remains in the Man United job anyway, he's going to be gaining more managerial experience. Like I said, no matter who our manager is, you know, we're never going to be the team that was under Ferguson. You know, no one's going to replicate Ferguson's legacy. You know, no one's going to last as long as Alex Ferguson did either, you know, because Ferguson enjoyed, 26, 27 years? I think it was 26 years at Manchester United and won a total of 38 major honours in that. And obviously, you know, since Ferguson retired in 2013, we have been playing catch-up for the last 6 or 7 years. You know, we've had different managers with different philosophies. Obviously, you know, spent close to the £1 billion range. You know, we've recruited over 30-odd players in since the Alex Ferguson era. We had great players under Ferguson, but a lot of the players that we had under Ferguson have now gone. It was actually Van Gaal that got rid of a lot of the players that we had under Ferguson. You know, and obviously you can say there's players who we brought in over the years who we shouldn't have got rid of as well. I think we've also brought a lot of the wrong caliber players in you know, last 6 or 7 years. So let's just put that into the equation. You know, we've been criticised, you know, for obviously, you know, with how poor recruitment policy's been. Obviously, you know, for us overpaying for players as well. But there you go. We are sitting 5th in the Premier League at the moment with 3 points behind Chelsea. And I'm convinced we can get qualification for the Champions League. Like I said to you, I don't know what's happening with the European games. I really, really don't know what's happening with them. I think I heard FA Cup games are going to be scrapped. We want to get some silverware as well under Solskjaer because we have lacked silverware in the last 6 or 7 years. We've only won 3 trophies since Fergie left. And that was the Europa League and League Cup under Mourinho and the FA Cup under the Louis van Gaal era and that. But we haven't won the Premier League since 2013, so we have not won it for 7 years or so. So, yeah. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless you all again very, very soon.